The wine glasses clinked. Laughter erupted. Music pulsed against the wooden walls of the cabin, as if the entire place had been rented for some grand family reunion. Except it hadn't. It was mine. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where you're from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching this whole video, don't forget to tell us, what would you do in this situation? Be honest. We read every comment. Now let's begin. My phone buzzed nonstop with notifications. I was sitting in a crowded airport terminal, waiting for my connecting flight, when my best friend Harper texted. "You're not going to believe this. Check your inbox." I opened the video she'd sent and my jaw locked. There they were. My parents, my sister Jenna, her smug fiancé, even my cousin Logan, all dancing in the cabin I had secretly bought 2 months ago. The same cabin they had mocked me for even considering. In the first video, Jenna twirled around with a champagne bottle. Finally, a place worth celebrating in. "Too bad it isn't hers," she sneered. The others roared with laughter. I gripped my phone so hard my knuckles turned white. My heart pounded, not from shock but from that cold, familiar anger. They had done this my entire life. Mocked. Dismissed. Used me when it was convenient. And now they were parading inside the one thing I had kept hidden. The one place I thought was mine. Alone. My husband, Ethan, was on a short business trip only 2 hours from the lake. I forwarded the videos to him, my fingers trembling but steady with purpose. Within 5 minutes he called. His voice was calm but I could hear the storm beneath it. "Tell me this isn't real." "It's real," I whispered. They broke in. "They're celebrating like it's theirs." Silence. Then, one sentence that made my stomach twist. "I'm driving there right now." I sat frozen in the terminal, earbuds in, watching another video Harper had recorded through the window. My mother raised her glass. "At least one of us has the guts to enjoy this place. Not like my daughter who wastes her life on pointless dreams." My vision blurred but I didn't cry. Not this time. Instead, a strange calmness spread through me because I knew what was about to happen when Ethan walked through that cabin door. And an hour later he did. Harper's camera caught the moment. The music cut mid-beat. Every laugh turned to silence. Ethan stepped inside, tall, broad-shouldered, his jaw tight, holding up his phone with the forwarded videos still playing. He didn't need to shout. The look on his face was enough to turn their celebration into dread. The slam of the cabin door echoed louder than any music they had been playing. My family froze mid-laugh, champagne glasses half raised. The fire in the stone fireplace crackled but no one dared move. Ethan Lawson stepped in, every inch of him rigid with fury. His silence was sharper than any blade. His phone still glowed, the videos looping. Jenna spinning, Diane raising her glass, Richard slurring about his useless daughter. "Funny party," Ethan said, voice low but cutting. "Did my wife forget to invite me, or did all of you forget this house doesn't belong to you?" My mother tried to chuckle, though her face had gone pale. "Ethan, darling, don't be dramatic. We were just breaking and entering." Ethan's eyes burned. Mocking Claire in her own home. Drinking. Celebrating like parasites in the one place she kept sacred. The champagne glass in Jenna's hand trembled. She glanced at Marcus, who whispered, "Stay calm. He won't do anything." But Ethan's eyes narrowed. "Marcus, isn't it? You laughed the loudest. Something funny about trashing your fiancée's sister behind her back." Marcus opened his mouth but no words came. Richard puffed his chest, stepping forward. "Listen, Ethan. This family built everything Claire has. She owes us. That cabin should have been shared, not hidden." Ethan's shadow swallowed Richard's defiance. "Shared? Claire worked day and night for this. Every cent that built these walls came from her, not you. And you," he jabbed a finger at Diane, "mock her dreams when she sacrifices more than any of you ever did." Diane's face flushed crimson. "She's our daughter. We have a right." "No." Ethan's voice boomed for the first time. "You have no right. Not anymore. You've humiliated her long enough. Turned her kindness into an open invitation to use her. But this," he swept his arm around the cabin, "this ends tonight." The silence was suffocating. Guilt hung on some faces. Denial on others. I wasn't there physically but I felt the scene through Harper's live video. Every word Ethan spoke was the truth I had buried in my chest for years. Jenna hissed. "So what? She buys a cabin and suddenly thinks she's better than us?" She'll always be the same pathetic girl begging for approval. She can't erase who she is. Ethan turned, eyes blazing. You're right. She can't erase who she is, loyal, hardworking, stronger than any of you. But she can erase who you are in her life. After tonight, none of you will see her unless she chooses. And if you set foot here again, the law will handle it. Logan shifted uncomfortably. Come on, Jenna. Maybe we went too far. Too far. Ethan barked. You filmed yourselves mocking her. You broke into her sanctuary. You ridiculed the woman who's done nothing but put up with your abuse. Tell me, Logan, was it funny when you watched her own mother call her a failure? Did that make you feel powerful? Because all I see are cowards hiding behind each other's laughter. The words landed like punches. Richard's jaw clenched, but his eyes dropped. Diane's lips trembled, excuses trapped in her throat. Ethan pocketed his phone, standing tall. Here's how it's going to be. Everyone leaves. Now. You walk out of here and never step foot in Claire's cabin again. You don't call her. You don't show up uninvited. And you don't whisper her name at gatherings unless you plan to speak the truth. Or what? Jenna spat, her pride bleeding through her fear. Ethan leaned closer, his voice a venomous whisper. Or I'll make sure the entire town knows what kind of people you really are. I'll show them every video, every insult, every toast you made at her expense. And when your so-called friends see the truth, it won't be Claire's reputation shattered. It'll be yours. The room went dead silent. No one dared to challenge him. Even Jenna, her face twisted with rage, couldn't summon words. Ethan stepped aside, pointing at the door. Get out. Chairs scraped. Glasses clinked back onto the table. Coats were snatched from hooks. One by one they filed out, Diane muttering curses under her breath, Richard gripping her arm to shut her up, Jenna storming past with Marcus trailing like a coward, Logan keeping his eyes glued to the floor. When the last car engine roared to life and disappeared down the winding road, Ethan finally exhaled. He stood in the middle of the wrecked cabin, surrounded by empty glasses and torn confetti. But now the silence was peaceful. He picked up Claire's favorite blanket from the couch, folded it carefully and whispered into the quiet. They'll never hurt you again, Claire. Not while I'm here. And miles away in the airport terminal, tears finally streamed down Claire's face. Not from pain this time but from relief. For once, someone had stood for her when her own blood would not. The taxi rolled up the gravel road the next morning, tires crunching against the dirt as Claire finally arrived. The cabin loomed ahead, soft morning fog clinging to its edges like a secret. For weeks she had imagined walking up to it for the first time as its proud hidden owner. Instead, her chest burned with the memory of Harper's videos, her family laughing, pouring drinks, tearing into her name as if she were nothing more than a joke. Ethan was already waiting on the porch. His eyes softened the moment he saw her step out of the car, suitcase in hand, exhaustion etched into every line of her face. He came down the steps in 2 strides and wrapped her in his arms before she could even speak. They're gone, he murmured, steady against her ear. And they're not coming back. Claire clutched him tighter, the sting in her throat breaking into a sob. I watched every second, Ethan. Every word they said. I thought I'd grown numb to it, but it felt like they ripped something out of me all over again. Ethan brushed her cheek with his hand. No, they didn't rip anything out. They just showed their true faces. You still have everything they'll never touch, your strength, your freedom, and me. Claire nodded, though anger still simmered in her gut. She dragged her suitcase inside, and the sight nearly buckled her knees. Wine stains on the rug. Crumbs on the counter. Chairs scattered like a storm had blown through. They hadn't just invaded her sanctuary. They had desecrated it. This was supposed to be my escape, she whispered, her voice cracking. The one place that belonged to me alone, and they turned it into a circus. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we take it back. Not just the cabin, your story. No more being their scapegoat. No more letting them set the narrative. This is your chance to show them you're done being small. Claire sank onto the couch, gripping her knees as flashes of memory tore through her mind. Her father sneering when she turned down law school, her mother laughing when she failed to land a promotion, Jenna mocking her for dreaming too big. It was always the same chorus. Claire's not enough. But last night had changed something. Ethan's voice, steady and fearless, had cut through decades of cruelty. He hadn't just defended her, he'd forced them to look in the mirror. They think I'll crawl back, Claire said finally, her voice steadier. They've always counted on it, that no matter how bad they treat me I'll show up, forgive them, let them back in. But not this time. Ethan sat beside her. Then what do you want to do? Claire's eyes hardened. I want them to see they don't own me anymore. I want them to feel the silence of me being gone. The weight of not being able to use me as their punchline. And when they realize I don't need them, that'll be the revenge. Harper arrived a little later, groceries in hand, eyes wide as she looked around the messy aftermath. Wow, they really trashed the place. I still can't believe you held back and didn't come straight here last night. Claire gave a thin smile. If I had, it would have turned into a war. Watching Ethan handle it, that was enough. They looked terrified, Harper. For once, I wasn't the weak one in their eyes. Harper squeezed her hand. That's the thing, Claire. You never were weak. They just made you believe it. For the rest of the day, Claire and Ethan worked side by side. They scrubbed wine stains, tossed broken glass, and put the cabin back together. With every sweep of the broom, every scrub of a rag, it felt like erasing another scar her family had left on her life. By evening, the cabin was quiet again. Golden light spilled through the windows, the lake shimmering beyond the trees. Claire stood at the window, her reflection staring back, tired but unbroken. They'll call, Ethan said from behind her. They'll try to explain, twist it, make you feel guilty. Are you ready for that? Claire's lips curved into a bitter smile. Let them call. This time I won't answer. Her phone buzzed right then as if on cue. Caller ID, Mom. She let it ring. Then another, Jenna. Then her father. Claire placed the phone face down on the counter and turned back to Ethan. The silence will be louder than anything I could say. Ethan studied her with quiet pride. That's my wife. For the first time in years, Claire didn't feel like a daughter desperate for scraps of love. She felt like herself, strong, independent. And deep down she knew this was just the beginning of her transformation. Because revenge didn't always come with slammed doors or shouted words. Sometimes the sharpest revenge was absence, the undeniable truth that they no longer had power over her life. The cabin was hers. Her life was hers. And they would have to sit with that. The silence lasted 3 days. 3 days of unanswered calls, ignored texts, and voicemails piling up on Claire's phone. At first it was easy to leave it untouched. But on the 4th morning, a knock rattled the cabin door. Claire froze. Ethan rose from his chair, shoulders tense, and opened it. Her parents stood on the porch, faces pale, the weight of sleepless nights etched into every wrinkle. Behind them lingered Jenna and Marcus, whispering furiously, their smiles brittle. Claire, Diane began softly. Please, can we come in? Claire stood in the center of the cabin, arms folded. She shook her head. No. Whatever you came to say it here. Richard cleared his throat. His usual booming confidence had thinned to a wavering rasp. We made a mistake. Things got out of hand. We didn't mean to disrespect you. Claire cut him off, her voice sharp. Didn't mean to? I watched you raise a glass to my failure, Dad. I watched you, Mom, laugh about how useless I am. That wasn't an accident. That was the truth you've been carrying for years. Jenna scoffed. Oh, come on, Claire. You're being dramatic. Families fight. We were just having fun. Fun. Claire stepped closer, her eyes blazing. You broke into my home. You turned it into a stage to humiliate me when I wasn't even here to defend myself. That isn't family. That's cruelty. Diane's voice cracked. But we're still your blood. No, Claire snapped, her tone steady and final. Blood isn't enough. Respect matters. Loyalty matters. And you showed me I'll never have either from you. Ethan's presence behind her was like a fortress. He didn't speak, but his silence was power. His hand resting lightly at her back, reminding her she wasn't standing alone. Marcus tried to chime in, his voice dripping with mock charm. Look, we all got carried away. Maybe if you just let us. Claire's laughter cut him like glass. Cold, bitter, but strong. Carried away? You wanted my cabin. You wanted me out of the picture because the idea of me finally having something of my own made you sick. Well, guess what? You don't get a seat at this table anymore. Jenna's eyes narrowed, venom flashing. You'll regret this, Claire. You'll come crawling back. You always do. But this time, Claire's lips curved into a calm smile. Not anymore. I'm done begging to belong. You don't own me. You never did. The porch went quiet. The Lawson family stood there rattled, expecting her to cave, expecting the same old Claire who swallowed insults just to keep peace. But she didn't flinch. Finally, Diane's shoulders slumped. Richard muttered something under his breath, and one by one they turned and left. The crunch of gravel under their tires was the sweetest sound Claire had ever heard. Inside, Ethan wrapped his arms around her. You didn't just stand up to them. You buried the old version of you, the one who thought you needed them. Claire leaned against him, the weight finally lifting. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about freedom. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the lake, Claire sat on the porch swing with Ethan and Harper. The cabin, once tainted by betrayal, now glowed with something stronger: peace. She realized the greatest victory wasn't watching her family scatter in shame. It was knowing she had finally built a life where their approval no longer mattered. And for the first time in her life, Claire Lawson felt untouchable.